In the span of a single human lifetime, China has undergone a transformation with few historical parallels. Only decades ago, it was still largely rural, lagging far behind in advanced technologies. Today, it operates at a different temporal scale, one where the future is not anticipated but continuously constructed. City after city has rewritten its skyline, replacing horizontal growth with dense forests of steel and glass. On the ground, high-speed rail lines now span the nation, collapsing distances that once defined regional separation. Where the land resists engineering advances, expressways cross mountain ranges on bridges that set new world records for height and span. Entire deserts have been converted into fields of solar panels, turning emptiness into energy at continental scale. In China, futuristic forms are no longer confined to concept art. They are built, inhabited, and quickly normalized. In this environment, a bridge breaking global records or a skyscraper redefining height is not an endpoint, but a stepping stone toward the next benchmark. Like the rest of the country, for much of the 20th century, Shanghai's skyline was not a forest of towers, but a disciplined horizontal line along the Huangpu River. The Bund defined it. A procession of neoclassical and Art Deco buildings stood shoulder to shoulder, facing the water. Completed in 1927, the Customs House's clock tower reached approximately 300 feet, becoming the city's dominant vertical reference point. For decades, this was as tall as Shanghai dared to go. Beyond the Bund, the city spread outward in low-rise neighborhoods. That restraint ended decisively in the 1990s when Shanghai turned its attention east across the river to Pudong. The signal was unmistakable: the Oriental Pearl TV Tower. Finished in 1994, it was not just tall, it was unapologetically futuristic. Concrete columns supported a sequence of pink-hued spheres, inspired by a classical Chinese poem comparing falling pearls to jade plates. Observation decks offered views no Shanghainese had ever experienced. The Bund reduced to a line of stone facades. The next phase replaced symbolism with scale. In 1999, the Jin Mao Tower was completed. Rising about 1,400 feet over 88 floors. Its design fused modern engineering with traditional Chinese proportions. A tiered form based on the number 8, long associated with prosperity. A decade later, in 2008, directly beside it, the Shanghai World Financial Center opened at approximately 1,600 feet. With its trapezoidal aperture near the top, engineered to reduce wind pressure and structural load, it earned the nickname the Bottle Opener. Upon completion, it was the second tallest building in the world, a technical achievement that placed Shanghai firmly at the forefront of super tall construction. Yet even that title proved temporary. In 2015, the Shanghai Tower surpassed them all. At about 2,100 feet, with 128 floors, it became the tallest building in China. Its defining feature is not just height, but form. A twisting, asymmetrical cylinder that rotates roughly 120 degrees as it rises. The double skin facade creates thermal buffers and reduces energy consumption. While wind turbines near the crown contribute to on-site power generation. What is striking is how quickly the extraordinary became normal. Shanghai's development shifted from height alone to texture and experimentation. One of the most telling examples is the 1,000 Trees project. The complex replaces a former industrial site with terraced concrete columns planted with hundreds of trees. Offices, retail, and public spaces are embedded within a structure that looks like a constructed hillside. If Shanghai's skyline tells the story of finance and ambition, the Yangshan deepwater port reveals how that ambition is made operational. It's the largest and busiest container port on Earth. A logistical machine that has ranked first globally since 2010. Each year, it handles more than 47 million containers. Moving goods between China's industrial heartland and markets across every continent. Constructed on a group of small islands, Yangshan allows the world's largest container ships to dock fully loaded. Much of the terminal operates with minimal human presence. Automated guided vehicles, robotic cranes, and AI-driven scheduling systems coordinate container movements with precision measured in seconds. Connecting this offshore port to the mainland is the 20-mile-long Donghai Bridge that links Yangshan directly to Shanghai's Pudong district. Another sprawling metropolis, Beijing, is both a forward-facing capital and a repository of more than 3 millennia of history. Here, futuristic development does not replace the past. It rises beside it, often in deliberate contrast. That tension is most clearly expressed in the CCTV headquarters, completed in 2012 in Beijing's central business district. Designed by OMA, the building rejects the conventional vertical skyscraper altogether. Instead, it forms a continuous loop. Two leaning towers joined by a dramatic cantilevered section more than 250 feet above the ground. More than a television headquarters, it is a statement. Beijing is willing to redefine what a landmark can be. The city made a similar declaration on a global stage in 2008 when it hosted the Summer Olympic Games. The National Stadium, widely known as the Bird's Nest, seats approximately 91,000 spectators and is wrapped in an intricate lattice of exposed steel. The seemingly chaotic structure is, in fact, highly ordered, engineered to absorb seismic forces while eliminating the need for internal columns. Beyond these global icons, Beijing's futurism often appears in commercial and residential districts. Wangjing Soho and Galaxy Soho, designed by Zaha Hadid architects, exemplify this shift. Comprising fluid, asymmetrical towers, the complexes abandon rigid lines in favour of smooth forms. Yet for all its experimentation, Beijing remains anchored by its historical core. At the centre lies the Forbidden City. Constructed in the early 15th century during the Ming Dynasty, the complex covers nearly 180 acres and contains close to 1,000 buildings aligned along a strict north-south axis that reflects ancient cosmological principles. Unlike many Chinese cities that look south or east, Harbin has always faced north, oriented towards Siberia and its extreme climate. Winters here are not incidental, they are defining. Temperatures routinely fall well below freezing, and the Songhua River locks into ice. Rather than resist these conditions, Harbin turned them into spectacle. Since 1985, the International Ice Festival has transformed the city each winter into one of the most surreal urban environments on Earth. Covering hundreds of acres, the festival features massive structures carved from ice blocks cut directly from the frozen river. Entire palaces, cathedrals, towers, and cityscapes rise from the ground, illuminated at night with programmable LED lighting. The clearest expression of modern Hangzhou is found along the Qiantang River, where the Olympic Sports Expo Centre anchors the city's contemporary skyline. Completed for the 2022 Asian Games, the complex includes stadiums, arenas, and exhibition halls designed at metropolitan scale. Its centerpiece, the main stadium, often compared to a blooming lotus, seats approximately 80,000 spectators. Rising nearby is the Greenland Hangzhou Centre, the tallest building in the city and a defining marker of its vertical ambitions. Standing at almost 1,000 feet, the Twin Towers are a key component of a recently developed 9-square-mile mixed-use area. The iconic wing-shaped form is derived from the first letter H of the pinyin of Hangzhou, which symbolizes the city's harmony and beauty. Yet another of the city's most distinctive landmarks is the Hangzhou Intercontinental Hotel. Instantly recognizable by its golden egg-shaped form. The hotel rises above the riverfront like a polished artifact from the future. Officially opened in 2010, its elliptical design breaks sharply from conventional hotel architecture. Spanning about 22 miles, the Hangzhou Bay Bridge links the industrial and financial hubs of Shanghai and Ningbo. Before, trips that now take just over an hour could require more than 4 hours by traditional roads and ferries. Completed in 2008, the Hangzhou Bay Bridge was designed to confront both scale and environment. Engineers employed deep pile foundations and aerodynamic design to ensure stability and longevity. Every span was optimized to withstand not only the natural forces, but also the immense weight of continuous heavy traffic. Suzhou has always existed between two worlds. For centuries, it was defined by water, a dense lattice of canals that earned it the name Venice of the East. Today, it stands at the edge of China's most advanced economic corridor, with some of the country's most ambitious contemporary architecture. Along Jinji Lake, Suzhou's modern skyline has taken shape. Dominating it is the Gate of the Orient. Completed in 2016, rising about 990 feet, the structure forms a monumental arch. Two towers joined at the top, framing the lake and the city beyond. Frequently compared to a giant gateway or even a stylized opening, the building was designed as a symbolic entrance to the new central business district. Nearby, scale replaces symbolism. The Suzhou International Finance Square rises approximately 1,500 feet. Completed in the early 2020s, its sleek, tapering form reflects the region's shift toward high-value development. Yet Suzhou's identity cannot be understood through glass and steel alone. A short distance away lies Zhouzhuang, one of China's best preserved traditional water towns. With a history stretching back more than 900 years, Zhouzhuang is defined by narrow canals lined with whitewashed walls and spanned by stone bridges. In southwestern China, the land is defined by deep gorges and rivers that cut hundreds of feet below the plateau. To build modern road networks here, engineers abandoned conventional thinking and turned to extreme elevation, long-span bridges. For years, the benchmark was the Beipanjiang Bridge, spanning a gorge on the Guizhou-Yunnan border. When it opened, its roadway sat about 1,850 feet above the river, making it the highest bridge in the world by vertical clearance at the time. It demonstrated that full-scale expressways could operate safely at extreme elevations, transforming a slow, hazardous mountain crossing into a matter of seconds. Beipanjiang changed expectations, and then those expectations were pushed even further. That new threshold is marked by the Huajiang Grand Canyon Bridge, which has now taken the record. Crossing the Huajiang River in Guizhou, the bridge carries an expressway at a height exceeding 2,000 feet above the canyon floor. In Hunan Province, another engineering marvel, the Aijai Bridge combines structural daring with visual drama. Suspended about 1,150 feet above the canyon, it carries an expressway between tunnels drilled straight into opposing mountain faces. The bridge's steel box girder deck is supported by massive cables, while its approaches disappear almost immediately into mountainside portals. Positioned on the Haihei River, Tianjin expresses its ambition not only through finance and commerce, but through daring feats of engineering. The Tianjin Eye, a 400-foot tall Ferris wheel, is constructed directly above the Yongle Bridge. Each of the 48 fully enclosed capsules carries visitors over the Haihei River, providing panoramic views of the city's skyline. At night, the wheel transforms into a glowing beacon. Its LEDs choreograph to create patterns of color and movement. A few kilometres away, the Chifeng Bridge stretches across the river, connecting residential and logistics districts. Rising above its centre is a glass observation tower, offering visitors a 360-degree view of the riverfront. Beyond the city limits, Tianjin has embraced a different kind of futurism: solar energy. Expansive photovoltaic farms stretch across reclaimed industrial land and agricultural edges. These fields produce thousands of megawatt hours annually. Supplying both industrial zones and reducing the city's carbon emissions. Many of the installations incorporate bifacial panels, capable of capturing reflected light from the ground, and are monitored with AI-driven systems. At the centre of Shenzhen's vertical ambition stands the Ping An Finance Centre. Completed in 2017, it rises almost 2,000 feet, over 115 floors, making it the second tallest building in China and the fourth tallest in the world. Designed by Kohn Pedersen Fox, its tapering profile reduces wind pressure while maximising usable floor space. Nearby, the Shenzhen Civic Centre forms the city's administrative and cultural heart. Its striking horizontal roofline references a bird in flight, a metaphor for the city's speed, openness, and forward motion. At night, the roof is illuminated with LED arrays that trace the building's silhouette, creating a sprawling beacon. Further south, in Nanshan district, the Galaxy World Towers rise as a pair of mixed-use, super tall structures. The volumetric concept presents the towers as bamboo shoots, integrating them into a green urban valley that stretches to the nearby mountains. A three-dimensional city in the sky designed to accommodate nearly 30,000 people. In Shenzhen, a global technology capital, even public transport is treated as a testing ground for the future. The BYD Skyrail system is a product of that mindset, a transit project that sits somewhere between monorail and urban prototype. Unlike conventional metros, which require extensive tunnelling, Skyrail is designed to be built above ground on slim viaducts. The system uses rubber-tired monorail technology, allowing trains to handle tight curves and steeper gradients than traditional rail. This makes it particularly suited to complex urban environments like Shenzhen, where existing infrastructure leave little room for straight alignments. Once known as Canton to foreign traders, Guangzhou has long been China's gateway to the world. Here, futurism is not simply a visual statement, it is a working part of the urban fabric. Rising 2,000 feet, the Canton Tower was the tallest in China at the time and remains one of the tallest in the world. The tower's signature slender waist creates a twisting, hourglass-like silhouette that appears to defy gravity. At night, the tower's LED facade transforms it into a beacon visible across the city, with programmable lights reflecting artistic displays. Along the riverbank stands one of Guangzhou's most unconventional landmarks. The Guangzhou Circle. Created by Italian architect Joseph Di Pasquale, the building forms a perfect ring, earning it the nickname the Golden Coin. The design references an ancient Chinese jade disc, symbolizing prosperity and continuity, while also aligning visually with the nearby Pearl River to frame the water within its circular void. The Lieda Bridge is another testament to Guangzhou's combination of engineering and elegance. Opened in 2009, the cable-stayed crossing measures about 2,100 feet at its main span, linking Zhejiang New Town with the Haizhu district. Its central pylon, rising 419 feet, anchors a web of steel cables arranged in a fan pattern, creating a signature visual rhythm. Completing this modern quartet is Infinitus Plaza, the headquarters complex of the Infinitus Group. Designed by Zaha Hadid architects, the project consists of two fluid, interconnected buildings linked by elevated bridges. With more skyscrapers than any other city on Earth, well over 9,000 buildings exceeding 330 feet, Hong Kong's skyline is a continuous wall of height. Land scarcity forced it to grow upward early, long before vertical living became a global trend. One of the most striking expressions of this density is the Yikcheong, better known as the Monster Building. Constructed in the 1960s as a mixed-use residential complex, it consists of 5 interconnected blocks forming a tight internal courtyard. Apartments are compact, balconies are narrow, and windows face each other across minimal distance. At the opposite end of the architectural spectrum stands the International Finance Centre, a symbol of Hong Kong's role as a global financial hub. The taller of its two towers, IFC2, rises 1,365 feet, making it one of the tallest buildings in the world at the time of its completion in 2003. It houses multinational banks and corporate headquarters, while its lower levels integrate direct connections to urban transit. Hong Kong's double-decker trams, operating continuously since 1904, are among the oldest electric tram systems in the world. Running along the northern shore of Hong Kong Island, they remain a practical commuter option rather than a novelty. Complementing them is one of the world's most efficient metro systems, the MTR, where trains arrive with near clockwork precision. When one of the world's most dangerous airports, Kai Tak, closed in 1998, it left behind a vast expanse of prime waterfront land. Today, the area is being redeveloped into a new urban district, featuring residential towers, sports facilities, and even cruise terminals. Replacing noise and risk with public space and connectivity, turning a former constraint into an opportunity. That transition was made possible by the opening of Hong Kong International Airport. Built entirely on reclaimed land. It operates with 3 long runways capable of handling even the largest aircraft and consistently ranks among the busiest airports globally. From the airport, the Kong-Zhuhai-Macau bridge stretches across the Pearl River Delta. When it opened in 2018, it immediately became the longest sea-crossing bridge and tunnel system in the world. With a total length of approximately 34 miles, it consists of long viaduct bridges and a 4.2-mile underwater tunnel designed to allow uninterrupted maritime traffic. Engineers submerged part of the roadway beneath the sea, lowering massive tunnel section into a dredged trench with millimetre level precision. On the western end of the bridge, in Zhuhai, spreads Chimelong Ocean Kingdom, one of the largest marine theme parks in the world. Opened in 2014, the park spans hundreds of acres on Hengqin Island and is organised around massive purpose-built environments. The centrepiece attractions include some of the largest aquariums on Earth, holding tens of millions of gallons of seawater. The park's iconic whale shark aquarium uses large acrylic viewing panels, engineered to withstand immense water pressure. Closer to the urban core, Zhuhai's cultural ambitions take architectural form in the Zhuhai Grand Theatre. Completed in 2017, the complex sites on Yeli Island just offshore, connected to the mainland by a curving causeway. Its design features two asymmetrical, shell-like volumes rising from the water, often compared to seashells or moons. The larger hall seats over 1,500 people, while the smaller theatre supports experimental performances. Macau is often described as the Las Vegas of Asia, yet that comparison only tells part of the story. For more than 4 centuries, Macau was a Portuguese colony, a status that ended only in 1999. Along the Cotai Strip, vast casino resorts are, in fact, self-contained cities. The Venetian Macau replicate the famous Italian city, complete with canals and gondolas. Nearby, the Parisian introduces a half-scale replica of the Eiffel Tower. And on the other side of the road, at the Londoner, you can see a copy of Big Ben and the Houses of Parliament. Among these landmarks, the Grand Lisboa stands apart. Completed in 2007, the tower's unique form is inspired by a lotus flower unfolding upward in a burst of reflective gold and glass. Designed to dominate the skyline, the building merges hotel, casino, and entertainment space into a single vertical composition. At night, its LED-lit exterior becomes one of the most recognizable silhouettes in the Pearl River Delta. Chengdu, the capital of Sichuan province, has long been associated with tea house culture and slow living. Yet in recent years, the city has emerged as one of China's most important inland centres for advanced technology. A clear symbol of this shift is the Tianfu International Financial Centre, dominated by its recently completed Twin Towers. Their glass facades are integrated with full building LED lighting systems. allowing the towers to function as illuminated markers. Lighting programs shift with citywide celebrations, transforming the financial district into a luminous nighttime skyline. On a dramatically larger scale stands the New Century Global Centre, a structure that challenges conventional definitions of architecture. Completed in 2013, it spans roughly 18 million square feet, making it the largest building in the world by floor area. Stretching nearly 1,650 feet in length, it was engineered to accommodate tens of thousands of people into a single climate-controlled megastructure. Chengdu's modernisation is equally visible along its waterways. Yangshan Bridge, crossing the Jin River, blends historical reference with contemporary urban design. While the site traces its origins back more than 1,000 years, the present structure integrates modern lighting and riverfront planning. At night, illuminated pavilions and reflections on the water turn the river into a visual spectacle. Environmental stewardship is central to Chengdu's global identity, as the city is synonymous with the giant panda. The Chengdu research base of giant panda breeding is one of the world's most important conservation centres for the species. Established in the late 1980s, it has played a key role in increasing panda populations worldwide, contributing to the species removal from the endangered category. Sitting at the geographic heart of China, Wuhan in recent decades evolved into a laboratory for modern urban development. Optics Valley Square sits atop one of Wuhan's busiest metro interchanges and functions as a multi-level urban node. At night, programmable lighting projected on large format LED screens and illuminated facades turn the area into a digital cityscape. Surrounding the square are hundreds of research institutes and technology firms working in optics, developing AI, and advanced manufacturing. On a monumental commercial scale stands Dream Plaza Mall, one of the largest shopping complexes in China. Recently opened mixed-use building features 13 floors, over 1,000 stores, 200 restaurants, and a theme park. With a total floor area exceeding 5 million square feet, the mall functions more like an indoor city than a conventional shopping centre. Wuhan's role in national history is preserved at the 1911 Revolution Museum, dedicated to the Wuchang uprising that ignited the fall of the Qing dynasty. A dynamic, contemporary design with tilted forms and sweeping roofs symbolises the revolution's upheaval and spirit. A red and black palette for struggle and a new republic, while its folded, textured facade alludes subtly to ancient Chu state architecture. Balancing the city's density and intensity is East Lake Cherry Blossom Park, part of the largest urban lake system in China. In spring, thousands of cherry trees bloom along winding paths and waterfront promenades. During peak bloom, the park becomes one of central China's most photographed landscapes, offering a powerful contrast to the surrounding megacity. Dominating Nanjing's skyline is Zifeng Tower, Nanjing's most prominent vertical landmark. Rising approximately 1,500 feet with 89 floors, it remains the tallest building in the city and the entire Jiangsu province. At night, carefully controlled lighting highlights the tower's geometry. Ensuring it remains a visual anchor after dark. Stretching across the Jiajiang River in Hexi Newtown is the Nanjing Eye. Completed in 2014, it spans roughly 2,700 feet, making it one of the longest pedestrian bridges in the region. Its defining feature is a pair of enormous oval steel rings that rise above the deck, supporting the bridge through inclined cables. The design emphasizes motion and lightness, allowing pedestrians to feel suspended above the water. Anchoring the riverfront is the Hexi Twin Towers, part of the Nanjing International Youth Cultural Centre. The design draws inspiration from Yunjin silk weaving, with continuous linear bands flowing across facades. The result is a sense of movement and continuity. As if the buildings were pulled upward from the river itself. Nearby, the Zendai Himalaya Center introduces a radically different architectural language. Designed by MAD architects, the complex rejects rigid verticality in favor of flowing, mountain-like forms. Buildings appear sculpted rather than assembled, wrapped in white louvers that cascade like frozen waterfalls. Beyond the city's glass and steel, Nushu Mountain Buddhist Culture Park integrates contemporary design into a natural hillside setting. Its centerpiece, Foding Palace, is built partly underground within a former quarry, and houses the world's only known Buddha parietal relic. Domed forms, ceremonial corridors, and vast interior chambers are organized around symbolic geometry. Changsha's Mexihu New City represents one of the most ambitious examples of contemporary urban planning in central China. Built around an artificial lake covering roughly 3.2 square miles, Mexihu is a carefully orchestrated urban composition. Curving waterfront promenades, pedestrian bridges, and layered public terraces soften the scale of surrounding high-rises. Signature buildings include the International Culture and Arts Centre, whose flowing organic forms appear carved by wind and water. At the centre of Mexihu's identity are its large-scale dancing fountains, among the most technologically advanced in China. Stretching across hundreds of feet of the lake's edge, the fountain system integrates high-pressure water jets with synchronized LED lighting. Chongqing is not simply a city built on hills, it is one of the world's most extreme examples of vertical urbanism. Here, street level is a relative concept, and the city's form reads more like a geological cross-section than a conventional skyline. This multi-layered reality is most apparent in Chongqing's transport interchanges. Roads loop above one another on towering viaducts, while expressways dive into tunnels only to re-emerge several stories higher elsewhere. The metro system mirrors this complexity. Trains routinely pass through residential towers, only to emerge dozens of feet above ground. At the western tip of the peninsula, where the two rivers meet, stands Tianjin, one of Chongqing's most ambitious architectural statements. Long a historic river port, the area has been reimagined as a dense cluster of super tall towers. The development is crowned by a horizontal sky bridge-like structure, visually echoing the form of an ancient Chinese sailing vessel. The architecture emphasizes vertical lines and reflective surfaces, amplifying the sense of height while capturing shifting river light. Below and along the riverbanks, Chongqing's relationship with verticality takes on a more historical tone. At Hongya Cave, what was once a steep slope lined with traditional stilted houses has been transformed into a multi-level commercial complex. At night, warm lighting outlines each level, creating the illusion of a floating vertical village suspended above the river. China's high-speed railway system is one of the fastest and most comprehensive infrastructure expansions in modern history. What began with a handful of experimental lines has evolved into a system exceeding 28,000 miles of dedicated high-speed track. The trains routinely operate at 200 miles per hour. Journeys that once took overnight sleeper trains are now completed in a few hours. The network relies on fully grade-separated corridors, extensive tunnelling and long-span bridges. Equally striking is the architecture of China's high-speed rail stations, which often rival international airports in scale and complexity. Vast column-free halls and soaring roofs are standard features reflecting the need to process tens of thousands of passengers per hour. Recently completed Chongqing East Station is widely recognised as the largest in the world by total floor area. The scale of this transport node is monumental. The structure spans well over 10 million square feet. On China's southern coast, in the tropical waters off Sanya, futuristic ambition takes on a distinctly maritime shape. Rising from the artificial Phoenix Island are tall, curved towers whose profiles deliberately echo the forms of cruise ships. The facades sweep upward in smooth arcs, with horizontal balcony lines reinforcing the maritime metaphor. Instead of sharp corners, the buildings rely on continuous curves, giving the impression that the structures are in motion. On the mainland side of the bay rises one of Sanya's most unconventional structures, the Beauty Crown Grand Tree Hotel. Unlike the sleek maritime lines of Phoenix Island, this building embraces an organic, almost surreal form. The project consists of 9 primary high-rise towers, each shaped like a colossal abstract tree. Floors are stacked in repetitive horizontal plates, producing step terraces that wrap around the buildings like growth rings. Stretching across the Yangtze River in Hubei province, the Three Gorges Dam is monumental in physical terms. It spans roughly 7,700 feet from bank to bank and rises about 600 feet above the riverbed. Constructed primarily of concrete and steel, its mass is measured in tens of millions of cubic yards, enough to build dozens of major cities. At its core is a power station with 34 turbine generators, each among the most powerful of its kind. Together, they produce an installed capacity of 22,500 megawatts, more than any other power plant on Earth. By regulating seasonal surges, the reservoir reduces the risk of catastrophic flooding downstream. One of the most striking engineering features is the ship lift. A vertical elevator capable of raising vessels more than 350 feet between river levels. Large ships can also pass through a system of 5-stage locks, a process that can take several hours but allows continuous river traffic across the dam. In the mountains of northwestern Hunan, where sheer quartz sandstone pillars rise like stone forests, China has turned vertigo into infrastructure. At the time of opening, Zhangjiajie Bridge was the longest and highest glass-bottom bridge in the world. Stretching 1,400 feet between cliff faces and hanging about 980 feet above the valley floor. The bridge deck is made of thick, laminated glass panels. Steel cables and trusses provide the structural backbone. The transparent floor removes any visual buffer between visitors and the void below, turning fear into part of the experience. The Beilong elevator, or 100 Dragons elevator, offers a different kind of confrontation with scale. Anchored directly into a vertical cliff face inside Zhangjiajie National Forest Park. It is the tallest outdoor elevator in the world. The system rises roughly 1,000 feet in just over a minute, transporting visitors from the valley floor to the top of the sandstone pillars. The elevator consists of 3 double-deck glass cabins, allowing passengers to watch the rock wall rush past as they ascend. In Gansu province, near the city of Jiuquan, vast solar farms now stretch across the Gobi Desert. The Jiuquan Solar Power Base is part of China's national strategy to shift large-scale energy production away from coal. The choice of location is deliberate, as this region receives more than 3,000 hours of sunshine per year. The scale is overwhelming. Thousands upon thousands of photovoltaic panels are arranged in precise geometric grids. From the air, the installations resemble dark, reflective seas laid across pale desert terrain. Individual solar parks cover many square miles, and together the Jiuquan base represents tens of gigawatts of planned capacity. Power is collected through dense networks of inverters and substations, then transmitted via ultra-high voltage lines. This long-distance transmission is essential, turning remote desert sunlight into usable energy for industrial centres far from Gansu's borders. China's story does not pause at the moment this journey ends. It accelerates. The landscapes, skylines and records seen here are not fixed achievements, but temporary markers. By the time this film is watched again, some of its facts may already be outdated. New bridges will have surpassed previous records. Skyscrapers will have risen higher. Rail lines extended deeper into mountains and deserts. What feels futuristic today becomes ordinary tomorrow. To look at China is to watch the future under construction. Not a distant conceptual future, but one tested at full scale and inhabited immediately. In a world often constrained by inertia, China moves in fast forward.